how to create a design like this in Affinity Photo. Go to the Tools panel and select the Selection Brush tool. And then just create a selection. I'm just going with 100 and just set any kind of design. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. It could obviously vary each and every time. Then go to Layer and New Layer. Always need a layer for a gradient. So just go then to the Gradient tool. With the Gradient tool selected, apply a gradient. Now the default gradient will be white to black. Not particularly very useful, but you could use that. But even more useful, go to the Swatches panel. You can find that in the window menu. Now this version I'm using 2.3, it's the latest one. You need that. It's got the scale feature, that's the key thing. I'm just going to go with this gradient. Now the gradients you've got will be different, but just click and apply. Now this one has got green, blue, yellow, blue and red. And you can create, of course, any design. I'm using radial as well. So once you've done that, select and deselect. I don't need the selection anymore. And you can see it's just a basic layer, which you can resize. You can make it as big or as small as you like. But you can also apply various filters. Now I'm going to go with filters, blur, but you could use any of these blurs. Gaussian blur, motion blur is a pretty good one as well. Zoom blur, pretty effective as well. But I'm just going with Gaussian blur for this. And I'm setting it to about 18. You could, of course, vary it. You don't want to vary it too much. Maybe make it 15. You don't want it completely gone. Just apply. And now what you can do, you've got this pixel layer. You can see this pixel layer here. With that, go to the Move tool, make certain that's selected, and press Return or Enter on your keyboard. So you've got that on your keyboard, press Return, and this panel will pop up. The reason I mentioned 2.3, you need that because that's got the new feature of scale. You can then go over here and you've got rotation. You've also got number of copies. But to set that, you need to go to Duplicate. So turn that on and then increase it. And as you do that, you can see what happens. It just increases, gets slightly bigger. And then Scale. And you can make it obviously even much bigger. You can also go the other way and you can see and create some very nice sort of three-dimensional effects as well, designs. That does give a nice 3D look. But also you can go for rotation. So maybe, subtle rotation. Don't have to go full on. Maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4, and you can see you can create a nice spiral design as well. And as you do that, you can see it just turns and turns and turns, and you can push it too far. Maybe it's not what you want. But also what you can do is you can go over here, and this is still live, the layers panel. There's a few things that are still live that you can modify with this version. Previous versions, you couldn't do that. But now you can access a lot more. Hopefully, in future, even more features will be available. Then go over here, and instead of normal, now you'll notice as soon as I do that, it disappears. Not certain why it does that. It's just deemed to be a feature of the panel. And I'm going to go with negation. But as soon as you've done that, you can see what happens. You get that. And again, you can go back here. You can just change it. This rotation. That does seem, for some weird reason, takes a few seconds to process it. It doesn't work it out. But you can see you just rotate it. And also you can change the scale. And as you do that, you get different designs that way. Or increase the rotation to create all kinds. And you can obviously push it to create something like that. Create a very unusual design. But you can just keep it more like a spiral design. You can also just set it to about there. But you can also go for scale, maybe push it all the way down. Or you can go the other way. And sometimes that creates a really lovely image as well. Just go into 101 or 105. Don't push it too far because it just goes completely off the screen. And you can see you can reduce the number of copies. Sometimes that works better. Doesn't have to have more. Certainly create something like that very quickly just with 5 copies. And also you can always decide, you know what? Negation. Not happy with that. I can always go for maybe difference. You might think that looks nicer. Or maybe go for exclusion. Or that. Or go overlay. Or screen. All these sort of things. Just try them out. Darken. Not all of them work. I think personally, negation is a nice one, but contrast negative and so on. Actually create some very nice imagery with that as well. So once you're happy with it, click OK. And there it is. And of course, you can always select them all. It's just, in this case, 5 or 6 layers. You can then always, of course, go up here and you can change them. So you can just try out different ones. You decide, you know what, let's go for that one or that one. But I'm going to go with that one, I think, in the end. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you much.